Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Pro-life legislation is advancing all over America. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president for Liberty Counsel Action and also associate dean of the law school. Matt, the pro-life legislation is advancing all over the country in the state legislatures, and I'm glad to see that. One of them is in Kansas. Kansas Governor Sam Brownback, who was the former U.S. senator, signed into law a bill requiring both parents to consent to an abortion for a girl under 18. The bill would require only one parent in some cases, such as divorced parents. But that's one of the new laws that just came into being in California. Also, he signed into law a bill. There's a new abortion restriction that will take effect at July 1. It is a fetal pain bill, barring abortions after 21 weeks of development. And that's another piece of legislation that's moving forward in the state of Kansas.
Yeah, I think we've reached a tipping point, Matt, in this ongoing battle between those who support and embrace a culture of death versus those who would like to see a culture of life in our society. We're gaining momentum, and I think, hopefully, I'm hoping and praying that final victory is a foregone conclusion. It's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. And we're stacking up many of these little victories in battles that, when combined together, ultimately show that we're gaining momentum in the war. This is very important. This bill in Kansas, which will also limit abortions after 22 weeks based on the pain that documented. Pain that a fetus, that an unborn child feels. So this is a fetal pain bill as well. And the more we highlight the reality that this is a little human being, science is irrefutable and unequivocal on this, the more people's eyes start to open and they start to say, wait a minute, this is purely political. This isn't scientific. And there's no political defense for abortion homicide, for taking an innocent human life. Ultimately, I believe that we will have victory for life.
Yeah, I think we will. And it's encouraging to see what's happening across the states. In South Dakota, of course, there's this bill that was passed that requires a 72-hour waiting period, and two doctors must verify and see the patient beforehand. South Dakota has one abortion clinic. These doctors fly in once a week. They do these abortions and fly out. This will really put a stop to many of the abortions in South Dakota. I'm sure some of these laws, like that one, will be challenged, and they will pose a direct threat to Roe versus Wade and go to the U.S. Supreme Court. There's a bill moving forward in Ohio, and that's the heartbeat bill. Janet Porter is a real. You get her involved in something, and she did in Ohio, and a lot of people came together. That's a fetal heartbeat bill, and that says once the heart starts beating, once you have this detectable pulse,
heart, heartbeat,
then you can't have an abortion. Well, if that gets passed in Ohio, that'll be a direct challenge to Roe versus Wade as well.
And it will be challenged, but that's great. Bring the challenges on, because the more people are talking about, well, yeah, if there's a heartbeat, what does that mean? Well, it's a living human being. The more people, we drive that home, I think the more society comes on board with the position of life.
That's right. And you have in Nashville, out of Tennessee, the state Senate there voted 24-8 just recently in favor of an amendment to the state's constitution that would allow future legislators to enact laws that put new restrictions on abortion. And this marks the sixth and perhaps the final time that the Senate has approved an amendment aimed at negating a 2000 state Supreme Court decision that declared Tennessee's Constitution provides greater abortion rights than does the U.S. Constitution. So what's happened is you've had the U.S. Supreme Court becoming cut free of the Constitution in 1973 when they declared abortion was protected by the Constitution. For a long time, the state Supreme Courts still were interpreting their constitutions more historically. But then they found out, well, hey, the Supreme Court of the United States can do it. Nobody does anything against them. So they then have started to put their own ideology into their state constitutions. Tennessee was one of those. Florida was another one in 1989 with the NRA-TW decision, declaring that those state constitutions give more rights to abortion than even the U.S. Constitution. So even if Roe versus Wade is overturned, what ultimately happens is you have this independent so-called constitutional protection in the state. Well, Nashville, where the Senate was meeting, those senators have tried to reverse that. So they're amending the Constitution to say, no, that's not what our Constitution is meant to say, to eliminate that 2000 Supreme Court decision.
To remove that fail-safe that the abortion industry has placed in the state constitution to if Roe v. Wade ever does collapse. Well, another strategy, Matt, that unfortunately has failed a couple times in Colorado, for instance, is this notion of a personhood amendment, declaring the unborn child as what they are, a person. I know Liberty Counsel has been very involved in Mississippi with the Mississippi Personhood Amendment that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, will be voted on in November of 2011.
That's right. Yeah, it's coming up for a vote. And Liberty Counsel was involved in helping to draft that and defend it in court. And we're working with other people around the country, too, for these personhood amendments. Now, there have been some organizations that just make me scratch my head, and they're saying, well, don't go for personhood, let's go for something else. And their idea is, well, the Supreme Court's not going to accept
and
this.
These are pro-life organizations.
These are pro-family. They say they're pro-life, pro-family, and they are. But they have this timid viewpoint. The fact of the matter is we've got abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. We've had abortion since 1973, and we've got over 50 million babies that have died, one every 20 seconds. How much worse can you get? How much worse can you get? I say let's go for the jugular. And, back in 1992, we had a 5-4 decision to overrule Roe versus Wade for 30 days, but for Kennedy's switch of the vote. And then the next 30 days, it was 5-4 to uphold Roe versus Wade. We would have had Roe versus Wade set aside in 1992. So who knows whether Kennedy would not swing the other way again this time and vote the right way and overrule Roe versus Wade. I don't think we can be timid. When there's a Holocaust going on, I don't think we can say, well, you need to just make sure they don't feel pain when they go to the gas chamber. You need to say, right. No, it's wrong. Let's stop it. Let's go for the jugular, and it can't be worse than it is now.
Well, here's the problem. Some of these groups, these pro-family groups we're talking about, embrace this incrementalist approach, which is fine. Go ahead and move forward with your incrementalist approach.
I mean, these laws are fine,
but don't undermine
exactly
what we're doing and what ultimately would provide a tremendous victory, I think, and is the right approach. Because listen, this is very black and white.
Yeah.
It is either an unborn living human being or it's something else. Well, science is clear. Common sense is clear. These are unborn children. This is a human life. Of course, we need to defend it outright and go for the personhood amendment, if you will. So.
And I think it's not either or, it's both.
They can work in tandem.
Because I think some of the incremental approaches like parental consent, fetal pain, heartbeat bills, waiting periods, clinic regulations, and so forth, those are important pieces of legislation because those can actually directly challenge Roe versus Wade. In fact, the Planned Parenthood versus Casey decision, that was a direct challenge to Roe versus Wade, and that dealt with parental notification, spousal consent, clinic regulations. So those can directly challenge Roe. And they also lay the groundwork for people to begin to say, hey, this is radical to have abortion. Having partial birth abortion is a radical opinion. You put Planned Parenthood on the defensive when they defend something as atrocious as that. But then also, let's go for the full thing, the personhood. Liberty Counsel is fighting for a life, fighting for religious liberty, fighting for the family. Give us a call at Liberty Counsel at 1-800-671-1776. Join the ministry of Liberty Counsel and also Liberty Counsel Action, which is our 501c4 issue advocacy organization. We're setting up individual state chapters around the country. We also have them networked. You can join a Liberty Counsel Action in your individual state. There's one for all 50 states by going to the freedomfederation.org website and signing up for the social networking capabilities and join the Freedom or the Liberty Counsel Action group in your state. They're set up for all 50 states, so you can become a part of that right now. Go to freedomfederation.org, or you can also go to lc.org and enter the Freedom Federation social networking right there at LC's Liberty Counsel's website. That's lc.org.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.